All right, what an awesome conversation with Del Reid. I mean, honestly, what an awesome, down-to-earth guy. We talked about how Bills Mafia started. I mean, he's called the Godfather of Bills Mafia, but the humblest guy. He's giving credit to everybody else, really talking about how it's more of a movement and much bigger than him. But then, how he used Bills Mafia and the momentum from that to create 26 shirts and all that he's done for the community. I mean, incredible guy, honestly. Like, had an amazing conversation, learned so much that I never knew about him. I didn't know about Bills Mafia, the origin story, and just so much more. Check it out. I think you're really going to like it. As always, this episode is brought to you by my law firm, Richmond Personal Injury Attorneys. We hope you never need us, but if you do, we got your back. Dude, I was thinking, I'm like, okay, where should we get started today? And I mean, I guess I have to go back to, talking to you about starting Bills Mafia. I mean, it's insane, and I want to talk about that. But I was thinking first, like, what was life like growing up for you as a Bills fan here long before Bills Mafia?
Are we recording now?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
No, you're good.
That was such a good transition, dude.
We just wanted to flow easy.
Yeah,
you're good.
flow.
I mean, you got a podcast,
Yeah, for sure. Growing up, my parents are big Bills fans. There's Bills stuff all around the house. I always make the joke how my mom asked me to please stop telling the story, but I'll tell it one more time. I grew up in a house that had like an O.J. Simpson picture on the wall. Like Catholic families have the Pope on the wall.
Yeah.
Like we had O.J. Simpson, and like it came down in '94. Like
had to.
Yeah, had to. Like
Wait, what happened in '94?
Yeah, look it up. It's there. That day, I think it came down. But like, the Bills have always been a part of my family, and it wasn't until probably I think it was 8th grade. The Bills won the division. They beat the Jets like 9-6 in overtime. Fred Smirlis actually blocked a field goal attempt at the end of the fourth quarter, if I remember correctly, to send it to overtime, and then Scott Norwood nails it. They win the division. And I remember we were at a watch party at their friend's house. And, 8th grade, I was kind of in and out there, and then seeing everybody get so pumped, and I didn't even understand like what a division was.
Yeah.
I just knew they won something big, and I couldn't. It wasn't the Super Bowl. What happened? And from that moment on, I started paying like much closer attention. So by the time like the 1989, like the bickering Bills season rolled around, like I was reading the newspaper every single day. I was as dialed in as you could be. And then I was kind of blessed. Like the next year, they go to the Super Bowl, right? So, so that's kind of how it was. My parents would have people over to watch the game if we weren't at somebody else's house. They would have some people over at our house, and my mom would always make the exact same pumpernickel bread dip.
Yeah.
To the point now where she comes over sometimes like, can you bring the bread dip? So and then as I got older into high school and college, then it was like my friends that were coming over to watch the game and everything. I guess we kind of squeezed out my parents' friends or something. I don't know. but it's just football's always been a real communal thing, and it's kind of how I was raised.
Yeah. Why do you think? Well, let me tell you this first. So I was talking to somebody pretty high up in the marketing department at the Bills, and there was a study that was done by like a third party, and essentially this third party has gone around to all the NFL teams and kind of showed them this data. And to put it, I guess, like succinctly, the Bills, and probably no surprise to anybody, are considered the most rabid fan base, right? Obviously, there's cities with more fans just because, the cities are bigger, but they're considered, however they measure, the most rabid. Why do you think we are so obsessed with the Bills in Buffalo? What do you think it is?
I don't think it's one thing, and I'll throw out a couple ideas. In no way am I saying this is the reason why. There's a lot of layers to it, but I think part of it is we haven't won.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, they won the AFL championship in 64 and 65, 64 and 65. But they've not won a Super Bowl, and they've come so close. So there's that carrot on the end of the stick. So I think that's one part of it. Another part is it's passed down from family to family. Like we were saying before we started recording. Like my daughters, like they didn't have a choice. They had to be Bills fans.
Yeah.
And I always joke how I was raised in a big Bills family, and I married into a bigger Bills fan family. So it's just such a part of like what we share as family, as community. So often, like what the love that we have for the team has nothing to do with what's going on with the field. I mean, just look at the Greg Williams, the Dick Duran years, Doug Marrone years. Like we were there. Like fans were showing up.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big part of it as well too, family and community. Some people think it's because there's nothing to do in Buffalo. That's not true at all.
There's a lot to do in Buffalo.
There's so much
Yeah.
to do here. And I've realized if you travel anywhere, the people that live there will tell you there's not a lot to do here.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, for sure.
Especially the teenagers.
Yeah.
There's nothing going on.
Yeah.
But then you realize, like, holy crap, there is a lot going on around here every weekend. So that's not what it is. But I really just think it's a great sport too, and I think people appreciate it in Buffalo. We're a competitive city. We do have a little bit of a chip on our shoulder, often looked down upon, and the Bills and the Sabres, for better or for worse, they are how the rest of the country sees the city. It's true for every city. You think of a city, you think of the teams right away.
Yeah.
And they've not yet won that, so there's a constant prove it mentality as well too.
Yeah.
It's kind of all over the place. So there is no answer, but I think that those are elements of it.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, there's something about Buffalo, right? There really is such a close knit community. I mean, some people say it's because of the harsh winters or whatever it is. I don't know. Like, regardless, it's just a different vibe here. Like, I came here from New York City, and you feel it immediately. And the community embraces everybody who moves here, and then. Yeah, and they welcome some new people into Bills Mafia all the time.
Yeah, and you're the exception, because most people that live in Buffalo, it's because they were born in Buffalo.
Yeah,
it's not a transplant destination typically.
Yeah,
and I think that is a big part of why the community is so tight knit, is because we all go back. Most of us go back generations. You're raising your kids here, so or whatever it is. So it's going to happen for them, but. We all know each other, and if I don't know you, my dad probably knows your dad, or whichever. There's only 2 degrees in Buffalo.
100%. Yeah, it's funny you say that. When I moved here from New York, so when you're in New York, and say you meet somebody, you're out, somebody introduces you to their friends or whatever. Oh, where are you from? It's I'm from Philadelphia. I'm from LA. I'm from Columbus, right? In Buffalo, I remember I got here and I'm like, oh, where are you from? They're like Amherst, West Seneca, Orchard Park. Yeah. And you're like, oh, okay, I got it. Yeah. I mean, it goes to what you're saying, right? But it's cool that way. And I remember, because like you said, you're right. I think more and more kids who, there's this term brain drain that used to be associated more with Buffalo, where kids would go to college and never come back. But it's reversed big time. Like, some kids still go away, but they're coming back more and more and more. And, I'm not from here originally, from Rochester, but when I was coming up here for work in 2014 before I moved here in 15, and I was like, damn, I like what's going on here. Like, it's fun. Like, people are great. I love the Bills, love the Sabres. So yeah, it's an awesome place. And you're right. Like, there's a ton going on here. I get pissed when people are like, there's nothing going on here. I'm like, come on. But when my buddies come up, they love it.
Yeah, because there's plenty to do here, right?
Yeah.
It's just for crying out loud, we're right down the street from a wonder of the world as well, too.
Exactly. Yeah, people forget that.
Yeah. But not that you go to Niagara Falls every weekend, but
it's an option.
It's an option, for sure. You definitely don't hang around in Niagara Falls. You go to the actual falls, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so much to do around here, especially in the summer, but all year long.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so 2011. I'm sure a lot of people in Bills Mafia know the story about how Bills Mafia actually started. But I was actually kind of quizzing some people because I was getting excited for you to come on, and I was surprised by the number of people who don't know actually how it started.
Yeah.
So can you tell the story, but you got to set the table for us. Where were you? What were you doing for work? And kind of how did this all go down?
Yeah. Okay. So in 2010, at that point, I'd been on Twitter for probably 2.5 years. The first year was just me trying to find other Bills and NFL fans.
Yeah.
It wasn't until it was right around the draft, 2009. I remember all of a sudden it felt like there was this huge influx of football fans coming onto Twitter.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was because, I remember Rich Eisen was really pushing it on NFL Network. It just felt like everybody, all of a sudden, or maybe they were always there and I just couldn't find them, and then all of a sudden something clicked. But in 2009, it seemed to really take off. So by 2010, I was a year plus deep into having this banter with other Bills fans on social media, most of whom I only knew by their handle, you know, and most of them I didn't even know where they lived, but it was really cool too. I loved it because so often, you talk about, the game on Sunday, Monday at work with the same people, your friends, the same people. All of a sudden now, I think a lot of people take it for granted. You have anybody who wants to talk to you about the team ready to talk to you about the team. It used to be like it was the same 6 or 7 guys. I just and I'd complain about the exact same things. They would complain about the exact same things every week. There was no movement there. So so that was really cool. So forming all these little connections with other Bills fans was really special. And then so in 2010, there's a bunch of us had already kind of like gotten to know each other and everything, as much as you can through a screen. Funny thing is I've met, so many of them in person now, and that's a whole different thing. Some of them are almost like family. But,
that's awesome.
So in 2010, the Bills start that season 0-8. It was Chan Gailey's first year. They ended up finishing the second half of that season 4-4, effectively taking themselves out of the Cam Newton race, but whatever, it's all good. But they're playing the defending AFC champion Pittsburgh Steelers. They push them to overtime. It's definitely a trap game for the Steelers, right? But they get to overtime, and Ryan Fitzpatrick throws this bomb like on a rope, perfectly placed right in Stevie Johnson's hands in the end zone, and he ends up dropping it.
Yep.
That night, he goes on Twitter and basically questions his faith or questions God, however you want to put it. And the way I always phrase it was that everything was happening on Twitter for the first time, pretty much, because it was such a new medium. So I think it was happening. It was kind of the first time. So, the fact that a professional football player was kind of questioning his creator, it made the rounds on SportsCenter and all those. And I think it was even on like The View the next day. Everybody's talking about it. So Bills fans, we're kind of like rallying around the player, telling Stevie like, hey, keep your head up, bright future ahead. He had just scored like 3 touchdowns the week before against Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. And it just seemed like it was almost like this like cathartic thing. We're like, all right, at least we have this guy now. He's really good. Okay, one bad play, no big deal. We love him. He's great. And then you fast forward like 18 hours to like around like 4 o'clock the next day. I'm bad at math. I don't know if that's right or not. But and Adam Schefter retweets Stevie's tweet. And Twitter changes now and then. Sometimes if somebody retweets something once and then other people retweet it, you don't see it. Yeah. Nowadays, it feels like it's back to how it was. Like if somebody retweets it, you see it again and again and again, or reposts it now because it's not even Twitter, right?
It'll always be Twitter.
Yeah. It's like I'm like 16, 17 years deep on this platform.
Everyone's refusing to call it X.
Right, for sure. So basically Adam Schefter, shares it again, and Bills fans, being the incredibly oversensitive bunch that we are, just attacked him like, what are you doing? This is such old news. And it felt funny because, Adam is like the conduit through which almost all NFL news reaches fans. Yep. And so for him to be sharing something that was, so old in our eyes, it was comical. And so Breon Harris, one of my co-founders of Bills Mafia, created this hashtag Schefter Breaking News, and we started tweeting it at him with all these old news updates. Basically like oil crisis in the Middle East. That's kind of true now, right? In 2010, that was old news, right? Yeah. The 70s. But all these different kinds of things, like President Kennedy shot, President Lincoln shot, all these different like historical things. And then hashtag Schefter Breaking News after it. And I think some of the fans were maybe a little more vulgar than they needed to be in their tweets at Adam. And he ended up, I think, blocking everybody that was using that hashtag. And so, to my knowledge, that was the first time that I'd ever been blocked by somebody on Twitter. And I was like, oh, dang, all right. So fast forward a few months. Now it's April of 2011, and it's the Friday, I think, right before the draft. And so, like, the next week is coming up. And we used to have this tradition on Twitter called Follow Friday. Mm-hmm. And you do, like, hashtag FF or hashtag Follow Friday. And you would name a bunch of people that you follow. You'd recommend them to people that follow you.
Sure.
So I named, I just shouted out, like, a bunch of us that were a part of that whole Schefter Breaking News thing. And I said, follow the Bills Mafia. And it was like, and it wasn't even like a full hashtag. I think it was hashtag Bills space Mafia. And I named a bunch of us. And he asked me where I was picking up a pizza. It was a Friday night. I was picking up a pizza, waiting, and it wasn't ready yet. So I'm just like sitting there at the takeout, like just on my phone, and I fire that off, and then I take the pizza and I go home. And I think we were visiting my parents that night, my wife and the girls. And anyways, didn't even think anything about it. Just made a funny joke. I come back and like everybody's laughing about it and saying it, and you follow forward a few months. Everybody keeps using that hashtag Bills Mafia. And then the Bills signed Nick Barnett as like the big free agent in July, or it was July. They signed him, I think, right before camp. And he discovers the term, and he starts using it. So now fans are using it, players are using it, local news starts using it, and it just snowballs from there. And, we saw the opportunity as the three of us that kind of like were at the core of that whole Schefter Breaking News thing, to do something productive with this Bills Mafia thing. And so we did like a tailgate that year, which was already planned. We had already planned to go hang out together for a game for months. Like I said, we were all kind of meeting each other through this app. And they said, all right, let's make it a Bills Mafia tailgate. And we had like 70 people come through that day. And we did it like a 50-50. And so the next year we did like a specific fundraiser tailgate. And it just continued to grow and grow from there. No tables. Other people brought that later.
Not yet.
I think that's all the points. I think that's the story. I think I remembered everything.
I mean, I got a lot of follow-up questions. It's an awesome story. So are you still blocked by Schefter?
No. Okay, so I actually did an event with Adam Schefter, put on by the Bills like last May. And up there, and it was Adam and Stevie, and then they had me come up for a portion of it. Because I'm not Adam, I'm not Stevie, but they had the Bills had me come up there and talk for a little while on the stage with them and everything, like a round table. And Bree and Leslie were there. And we actually gave him a hat that says Mafia means family. And we wrote like, we still love you. And said hashtag Schefter Breaking News. We wrote on the hat and everything. We signed it. And I don't know if it's still there, but you know how every time somebody on ESPN comes on, they have like that little bookcase behind them. They're showing things off. He actually had the Mafia means family like hat behind him. At least it's amazing. I don't know if it's still there, but it was there for a while. Sorry, I just hit the mic. But,
no, you're fine.
And then he actually, so we did that event. I got to meet him. Great guy. Like he was a lot of fun that night. And he ended up following me on Twitter. So that was real weird. I'm sure I'm muted. Like he doesn't, I'm blasting too much stuff for his timeline, I'm sure. But so it's like a full circle kind of thing.
All right. So Stevie drops the pass. Mm-hmm. Schefter blocks you guys after you go nuts on him, which is hilarious. What pizza place were you sitting in when you did that? When you tweeted that?
It's no longer in existence.
Okay.
It's on Sheridan Drive in Tonawanda. It was called Fratelli's.
Okay.
Like the Goonies, I guess. I don't know if that was on purpose, but it's Fratelli's. Now I think it's a Romeo and Juliet's. It's on Sheridan and Loretta in Tonawanda.
Man, Fratelli's. You blew it. This could have been it
right?
For you.
They could have had had a little plaque there.
That's
maybe.
what I mean. Like a seat, like a gold seat where you were sitting waiting for the pizza.
It's probably a bit much, but
yeah. But it's interesting, right? Because you're sitting there. This is something that's been passed down to you from your parents. Mm-hmm. You're a huge fan. You're passionate. You're engaging with people online or on Twitter. It's one tweet one day, and all of a sudden it starts a movement. But as a result, it thrusts you into this position, like the leader of this movement. And I obviously know you love it and you take so much pride in it, as you should. And we're going to talk about all the amazing things Bills Mafia has done. But I mean, you didn't ask for it. Like, how does that? It's got to be wild to you that it just like kind of projected you into this, into this position.
Yeah, no, I certainly wasn't looking. Whatever role I play now, I wasn't looking to do that. And that's why anytime something comes up, I do my best. And that's why I'm so glad like Bree and Leslie were of the same mind when this whole thing took off. Like we never wanted to make it about us.
Yeah.
We started like a little billsmafia.com website, just as like a kind of like an outpost on the internet, kind of like telling the story that I just told you. And we had someone like blogging for us because he said, you guys should have a blog. I'm like, all right, you can do it.
Yeah.
A guy named Zach. He actually works for the team now. But I did do one thing myself. Every Monday I'd interview a different fan. So I called it Mafia Monday.
That's awesome.
We always wanted to make it about the fans because there's no shortage of stories about players and, general managers and, owners and all that. There's ESPN, NFL Network. They've all got that covered. We wanted to give a voice to the fans. And so to this day now, I always try to make sure that people understand, like, this is not like a Dell thing or anything like that. This belongs to all Bills fans.
That's awesome. I think we were kind of talking about this a little bit before we got going, but like the drought really brought people together here, and the fans kept showing up. Mm-hmm. They never stopped showing up. In other big cities, like people would have stopped going, but people kept going out, supporting them. Mm-hmm. Do you think the Bills Mafia would be in existence today if we didn't go through the drought?
Yeah, absolutely. Because all the points that I said earlier, it's something that is passed down from generation to generation in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Would it look like how it looks like now? I don't know. Maybe. But the drought definitely did bring us together, and it creates this resolve.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it would look exactly like what it looks like today, but Bills fans are so dyed in the wool. And I always say, if it wasn't, Bills Mafia, Bills fans would have united under some other banner eventually, because I didn't create anything. I just said something funny and we started using that name.
Yeah.
But the Bills fandom has always been here.
Yeah. Why do you think Bills Mafia is such an appropriate name for the fan base? Because obviously it's perfect.
It rolls off the tongue. I think EJ Manuel actually said that when they drafted him. He said Bills Mafia just sounds good when you say it.
Yeah.
But it's proof that it's not something I was trying to create, because I wouldn't have used the team name because of trademark issues.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have said Mafia. It's such a loaded term.
Yeah.
To this day, I'm still surprised that the team and the league actually embraced it, because it's such a loaded term.
Yeah.
And I still get letters, like physical letters from people saying, like, you need to stop using this name. And I'm like, first of all, cat's out of the bag. Like, you got an issue. Take it up with, like, I'm low on that food chain now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just a fun term. It's a little like when I posted that about us, with the whole Adam Schefter thing, it was tongue in cheek.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
we're such bad guys, the Mafia. We made some jokes at Adam, But yeah, it sounds cool when you say it. It's incredibly loaded with the team name, with all the references, But I've always tried to emphasize the whole family part of things. Organized crime, that's a bit much.
Yeah.
So
well, let me ask you this though, because now you said you get letters. Have you ever gotten a letter from somebody purporting to be in the Mafia and saying stop using this?
No.
Okay, that's good.
Thankfully.
That's good.
What do you do then? Like,
you wouldn't be here. You'd be in witness protection, like in the desert someplace.
That's when you really say, dude, no, it's the team, it's the league.
Yeah,
I got nothing.
It's not me. I'm done.
I'm done. Like, toothpaste is out of the tube, man. I don't know what to tell you.
It's awesome.
That's a good question. No, never had anything like that. Hope it stays that way.
It's funny. It's like, Bills Mafia, gets like, of course, this reputation, and like deservedly so, for like the tailgate, smashing through tables, all that kind of stuff. But I think we all know, and I actually think, it's gone away from this a lot lately, especially the last few years. It's really about community and giving back. And Bills Mafia has done so many amazing things for so many organizations, for so many people. Can you just talk about that? I mean, just like kind of how that started, because I'm sure it started small and then kind of now it's on such a huge scale.
Well, first of all, it's a big component of Western New York.
Yeah.
Buffalo is not called the city of good neighbors just because it looks good on those blue signs around downtown. Like, it's truly a component of who we are, and that goes back to what we said earlier, in terms of people who live here, have lived here their whole lives. We all know each other. Right?
Yeah.
We all look out for each other. So that's where it begins. And like I said, with the early days of the tailgates and everything, we wanted it to always be a fundraiser. Usually those first 2 or 3 or 4, or 5, maybe all of them, we were supporting Roswell Park for all those Bills Mafia tailgates. And then around 2015, like the whole Deadspin Barstool angle came in with, the jumping through the tables and doing everything else. And to the point where they were actually saying, oh, here's another Bills Mafia fan doing something crazy. I remember seeing one, the dude is literally wearing a Packers hat, doing something crazy. Like, it became a name for just craziness. So that's why I'm so glad. And all credit to my buddy Kevin Forrest, who lived in Grand Island, Nebraska at the time, lifelong Bills fan, never lived in Western New York. Andy Dalton throws that touchdown pass after the 2017 season, and the Bills go to the playoffs, and he says, all right, I'm going to give $17 to Andy Dalton's foundation, and I encourage other people to join me. And I shared that and everything immediately, and that just started this whole trend of something happens, and somebody on Twitter will say, like, all right, where are we giving the money to this time? Or what's this player's charity? Or what, that is the best calling card to have. Yeah. What an awesome thing, just to be known for. Yeah. It's so special. The amount of money that has been given to these different charities. I mean, the most recent one, like the Skin Cancer Foundation with Sean McDermott's firing.
Yeah.
I mean, like, just amazing work that's been. We're taking this passion that we have and we're laughing about and everything. We're taking this passion that we have as fans, and we're actually turning it into like good works in the community. Mm-hmm. I think it's almost like this renewable resource that you can tap into.
Yeah, 100%. I actually tell people, some of my buddies who live other places are like, I'm just going to warn you. Everyone loves the Bills fan base right now because you guys never won. But once you win, people are going to think you guys are annoying and they're going to get mad at you. Who
cares?
I go, exactly. Who cares? But I actually don't think so because of that fact that we're just talking about, the community fact, because you don't really see other fan bases doing that. If anything, they'll do it. They'll jump on board when the Bills fans start doing it.
Yeah. Credit to, there's one Chiefs fan, he runs a memes account, who has done a lot of things in this same vein. And he, it's really cool. He actually gives credit. He's like, I'm inspired by what Bills Mafia does.
Yeah.
So, great guy. I've had several conversations with him, over the years. But yeah, it's a great thing to be known. And guess what, though? I hate to break it. Like, there's a lot of fan bases that cannot stand Bills Mafia.
That's very true.
And it's even worse because they've not won a Super Bowl. So, and we're so cocky with Josh Allen and everything. And,
imagine when we win.
Oh, like you see Ravens fans and you see Chiefs fans like, oh, these guys, they haven't even won anything.
Yeah, it's so true.
I made the mistake. Not a mistake. I meant it. I called the Ravens a poverty franchise with what they did with Max Crosby this weekend.
So bad.
And he's like, oh, you're one to talk about being a poverty franchise. I'm like, I said what I said. I think even said like you can have all world players and still be a poverty franchise.
That was so rough. I mean, that was literally like, oh, we're gonna get him, but actually no, there's a hotter girl over here. We're gonna take this one now. That's so bad.
I will go to my grave believing that they thought that Trey Hendrickson was too much money.
Yeah.
And so they were going to trade for Max Crosby, and then all of a sudden Trey Hendrickson wasn't getting the.
He didn't go the first day, and they go, we can get him last. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He wasn't getting the offers he thought he was going to get, and then they pulled a fast one on the entire league too, because that was a domino.
Yeah.
Think about all the different things that wouldn't have happened had Max Crosby not left the Raiders.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have signed a bunch of those free agents that they signed. The Raiders did.
100%.
Now they're going to keep them, which is fine. They have enough cap to work with. But
now they have it. Yeah.
But that was not part of the plan.
Yeah, that's crazy. I have to ask this because you may know the answer to this, but somewhere out there is a man or woman who was the first person to ever jump through a table. Does anyone know who that is? Like, are there certain people out there claiming it's them, and then there's like a dispute, like maybe an underground fight about like who this is?
ESPN did a story about that this past year, and they had a couple of different people that said, it was me, or I did it, this and that. And I actually interviewed for that one, and I didn't even make the end of the video. I didn't make it at all because I was like, I'm not really into the table thing. I don't have to tell you. I did not fit the tone for what they were trying to do in that. But I was like, I don't have to tell you. Like, I think what I said was everybody can do what they want before a game. Just be safe, but definitely not for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, there had 3 or 4 different people I think that were saying like I was the first one to do it.
I mean, we need to get like a public debate going on this. Get all 4 of those people in a room, throw a big party, and let them debate it out.
Yeah, find out which one has the most broken bones. And,
I was going to say maybe you can ask United Healthcare or something like that.
Yeah, he was the first one to come through here, right?
Yeah. So look, I actually have a ton of respect for how you handle this, right? In the sense that. It's not about Bills Mafia isn't about you, and there's other people that have been on this journey with you. Mm-hmm. But I don't think there's any question that you are like to most of us not outsiders, but people like looking at kind of the movement that you are the face of it. I mean, you are considered to be the founder because of the story we talked about. Like that, it seems like something you take seriously. And I want to get into talking about 26 shirts and kind of the movement that's going on there, but. Can you talk about being thrust into like essentially like this leadership role?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't looking for it, and I'm a faith guy, and Jesus said, to whom much is given, much is required, and I was given this big social media audience, and I felt like. I have to do something productive with it.
Yeah.
And I still make fart jokes and I make fun of the Patriots and the Ravens.
Fart jokes will always be funny.
But at the same time, I try to be an inspiration to people and I try to use my powers for good, know? So whether it's saying, hey, let's donate here or, starting a company like 26 Shirts, whatever it is I can do, I want my time to be spent making it about other people and not about me.
Yeah.
Just because I'm not that exciting. Yeah, I love the Bills. So do you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
okay, cool. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's what we share. That's what I bring to the table.
Yeah, but I mean, there's more than that. I mean, you're a humble guy. I appreciate that. But can you talk? So I do want to talk about 26 Shirts because it's amazing, and I want to make sure people really understand like how this was started, the mission. I mean, you guys have given definitely over $2 million to families or people in need. Can you talk about kind of how this got started and talk a little bit about the company it's a non-for-profit, I know, but how do you do it?
It's actually not.
It's not?
No, I wanted it to be when I started it. And the lawyer I was talking to at the time said, you can't do that much retail and not have all kinds of tax nonsense you have to deal with.
Lawyers, love them, hate them.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, I've heard different things since then, but that was the advice I got in 2013 when I started. So I was like, all right, whatever. So that's what we're just transparent. You know exactly how much is being given
that's awesome.
from every shirt.
Yeah.
So there's nothing shady about it. You know, in terms of like any kind of shell game or anything like that.
I saw your Ferrari that you pulled up in.
Oh
so.
yeah, yeah. My Trailblazer that I splurged on. Yeah. Oh yeah. So a couple years into Bills Mafia, like I said, that social media audience was growing. You know, mine and the Mafia account that we had, and people would be constantly reaching out, like, "Hey, can you share this fundraiser? Can you do this, share this, whatever." Sometimes like, "Can you help me sell my car?" Like, no. But anytime like somebody was like looking for help or assistance or an event was going on, we'd share it. You know, and then. After doing that for a couple of years, one specific story, a gentleman named Scott Lunn, who lived in North Carolina, who's from Olean, he was doing an online raffle for an autographed Mario Williams jersey, which in 2013 was a big deal.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
And he actually won that jersey from Summer Sanders, Olympian gold medalist swimmer who's also a Bills fan.
Yeah.
So I'm not even like a big memorabilia guy, as much as I love, my teams and stuff. But I could understand, like, that's pretty cool. All right, it's the highest paid athlete in Buffalo sports history at that time, and you won it from an Olympian, a gold medal Olympian, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, dude, what's your story? Why are you trying to, get rid of this? And he goes on to tell me about his daughter, Amber, who was like 2 years old at the time, had a condition called retinoblastoma, which is eye cancer, and she was getting treatment at Sloan Kettering. And they were living in North Carolina, and they had to go there like every 6 weeks, something like that. And she had already had one eye removed, and the other eye was undergoing treatment. Good news is she's since saved the eye, and
awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome, right? Happy ending there. But it's what I learned as well. Like, but even the best health insurance in the world, it's not going to cover your transportation costs to a specialist on the other side of the country. Mm-hmm. It's not going to cover your lodging. Maybe there's a Ronald McDonald House, but like insurance isn't going to cover your lodging. Isn't going to cover your food. Your daughter in this case, she'll get fed, but as a patient. But so just hearing his story, and he has two daughters. I have two daughters, and reading his his long direct message that he sent me on Twitter, and immediately you put yourself in somebody else's shoes, right? And it's really easy to, like I said, with the same family structure and everything. I worked at Roswell Park at the time, and I'm about to go into the office. It's like 8 a.m. or whatever. I'm in my car crying, reading this guy's story, and I was like, "Yeah, dude, I'm happy to retweet your tweet about the raffle, and if I can do anything else in the future, I absolutely will." And then go forward a couple days. It was a Monday night. I was at this Bible study accountability group that I used to do with my buddies, just telling them about the Lunn family and how I wanted to do more for them. And it was like, you know what? In fact, not even just me, or not even just them, but there's so many families in the community that need help.
Yeah.
I'm a big T-shirt nerd. I've always been. I remember in elementary school, my mom telling me, you can't wear, she called them novelty tee. You can't wear a novelty tee every single day. Oh.
Like, watch me.
She has since said, like, okay, all right, I guess you can. But I've always been a big fan of like T-shirts and stuff. So I said, I think I could do a thing where I would sell T-shirts to help families, and I could rotate it, like whatever's relevant that time as well to whatever people are excited about in the community. Like do like a shirt about that. It would help a specific family in the community, and I could do it like every week. I just do a different family, And they were like, oh, tap your brakes. Like, you got, a full-time job. You got a family of your own. That's a lot of work. I said, all right, but I think I could do every 2 weeks because I know my schedule. I know my life. Like a different shirt, every 2 weeks for a year. It was only going to be a 1-year project. My buddy Jake is sitting like right there on the couch next to me. He's like, dude, that's like 26 shirts. I was like, yeah, I know. I think I can pull it off. So next morning I woke up and all I could think of was like 26 shirts. And it's almost like there was this physical thing, like 26 shirts, like everywhere I looked, that's all I could see.
Yeah.
And thankfully it's a weird name. So I was able to get like a domain and all the social media handles and all that. And I put up a post on the Bills Mafia website that I mentioned a while ago, basically saying like, here's my idea. I need art. I'm not very artistic. I need artists. I need all these different components. I need people to buy the shirts. And it took off from there. So that next Monday, literally a week after I had that idea, at midnight, launched this campaign. We sold 98 shirts for the Lunns and started doing it every 2 weeks, as I mentioned. And then after that, it was all like Buffalo football designs. And then it worked out so well that we did it for a second year. And the first one we did for the second year was a hockey design because hockey fans were like, "Where's the hockey design?" I'm like, "I'm the Bills Mafia guy. Like, I'm doing football, But I love the Sabres too, right? So, part of that story that I didn't share was I teamed up with a local T-shirt company called You and Who. Mm-hmm. They were printing all the shirts, handling all the donations, basically doing everything. I was just like the face of 26 shirts and recruiting the families and determining the artwork, but they were doing the actual work involved with it. And then a couple years later, after it was working so well, we said, let's do it again for another year. And then in 2015, I got laid off from Roswell. And that's when Dan Gigante, the owner of You and Who, said, don't apply for a new position at Roswell, because I had that opportunity, as a union job and everything. Come work with me. And, he said, I'll make you 50% and let's just do this. Because at that time, 26 Shirts had kind of taken over everything that You and Who was doing.
Right.
After some, thought and prayer and my wife's blessing, said, all right, let's go. Let's give it a year and see what we can do in a year. It was like my perfect like midlife crisis thing too. Like I was 39 years old. Like it was like this, have to, if I'm not gonna do it now, I'm never gonna do it.
Yeah.
And now we do a different shirt. We do like 2-3 shirts a week now. It's like all over the place. But at the end of 21, I ended up actually buying out Dan, and he's focused solely on his 19 Ideas amazing agency that he has.
Yeah.
So we just kind of, we still keep in touch and all that, but yeah, it's just grown and grown to the point where it's its own thing now.
Yeah. Now you have employees. You're a boss. Like, how's that? But like,
employees are great. Being a boss is overrated.
Yeah, I agree. And but it's crazy though. There's so many. I mean, you're an entrepreneur. Like, and so many entrepreneurs. Like, we have a lot on coming on the podcast, and there's so many people who just like kind of fall into it in different ways, and they're doing something they're passionate about. Then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, I'm a boss now. Oh, I have these employees. Like, how's that experience been for you?
Great.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. In fact, the end of this month, Josh, our creative director, will be 10 years with us.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's amazing.
And that's so rare in this day and age too.
And it's super humbling too. It's like, dude, you've given like 25% of your life.
Yeah.
Which even that's his whole life, right? I mean, like his career, like he's spent 10 years of it with us.
Yeah.
Hopefully he spends another 10 or 20.
Yeah.
So it's been really cool getting to meet these people, and the whole business is based on giving. And so that can be expressed in all different ways. So not just financial gifts to these families after a campaign is finished, but like I've been able to create jobs. And Josh has done his part for like local freelancers to kind of help like coach them up, because Josh isn't the only artist, and Leanne, our senior designer, she's not the only artist. We use freelancers. Mm-hmm. So Josh has been able to, when needed, to coach up these freelancers and say, hey, here, this is what a professional Illustrator file, how it's set up, and so like we're trying to give in every direction we can, whether it's, in the community, financially, experientially, anything we can do, we're trying to do. And so to be able to create jobs for people is just really cool. I always think of it as like rescuing them from the corporate monster. You know what I mean?
I can tell you take it seriously too. Like, these people are putting their trust in you, and it's true. That's awesome. I always, give people the benefit of the doubt, but you want more and more and more people like business owners to really feel that and act that way, because it's important. People, like you said, like, they're giving so much of their time. They spend most of their time at work. And obviously they love working for you. I mean, that's awesome. They love the mission.
Yeah, it's really, I don't take it for granted.
Yeah, I can tell you don't.
And it's, as much as possible. Like, listen, I get to do this for a living. Like, that's the gift. That's the benefit. I'm not trying to build an empire. I'm not trying to drive a Ferrari or or live in the biggest house that I can find. I'm happy with my 1,400 square feet in Kenmore. I'm not. Let me just continue to do this. If I can keep doing this, provide for my family, and then awesome. Let's create some jobs. Let's give as much as we're able to the families. Like, that's, as long as I get to do this, like, that's fine. Just insulate me from having to have a real job.
Yeah. Well, I mean, right? It's like you found a passion and you have a job, but it obviously doesn't even feel like work.
No, and it's funny. They say, find something you love, you won't work a day in your life. That's 100% not true. Find something you love, you will work nonstop all the time.
24/7.
24/7.
Yeah.
But you won't hate it.
Yes.
Because it's definitely work. It's definitely work.
That is a quote right there, because that is 100% true. So if you're helping so many people, and there's got to be a lot of weight in that too. I mean, because you're hearing these really sad, sad stories. You're getting to help people, but you're working with people going through really, really, really tough times. Is there a story in particular that stands out to you? For any reason? I mean, I'm sure you look at them all equally, but is there one that maybe like pops out to you?
Yeah, to your point, it is. I always say at the center of this is a lot of heartache.
Yeah.
Because we've been smiling and laughing this whole time, right? But the designs are really fun to do. It's cool to, like, in this case, work with players like Ryan Miller and stuff, and that kind of stuff. The design process, the creativity, but we all do this. At 26 Shirts, we do it for a reason. It's to help these families and try to never lose sight of that. And I realized, like, early on, like a year and a half, I felt like I was just getting wrecked. Every week, it was like hearing about another family that is just going through something, and then, like, some families would, like, lose. You're doing this fundraiser for a little girl, and then they lose she loses the cancer, and it was tough. And so I realized I was actually putting up a wall in my heart for a lot of this, because I was not intentionally, but I was, like, turning it almost into, like, these transactional things. Like, all right, this is your issue. This is what we will do to support you, and here's your donation. But then I got invited to this. I'm giving you a really long answer here. I apologize.
No, that's great. No, keep going.
Then I got invited to this party, a little girl named Livy, who we had done a shirt for, and they were celebrating her last chemo treatment, and, like, she ended up, like, going into remission and everything. It was a big celebration, right? And they invited all these family members, and then they invited me. And so I realized if I can't just have it one way. Mm-hmm. So if I'm going to celebrate with these families during the successes, I still have to feel the other end of the spectrum as well too. I have to, and I forgot what the original question was, but because I rambled too long, but, like, it's very real. And these families exist for a reason. Like, I mean, we exist for a reason to help these families.
No, I love listening to that. I mean, it's in some way I can relate a little bit as an attorney who our job is to help people when they're tragically injured, really seriously injured, and their life is turned upside down, and you can almost become, I think it's a defense mechanism, because you're just seeing, like, really, really tough situations, what people are going through, really serious injuries, and you kind of, like, close the emotional door, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, but we always tell our people here, and we talk about it a lot, is you have to manage that, but you need to open that door too, so you really understand and can empathize with people.
Yeah.
So you really can help them, right? Because you get that added motivation to be like, hey, this is why we do what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's been times where we're doing a shirt because all these different. Oh, you said, was there a specific story?
Yeah, well, you mentioned Libby.
Yeah, Livy. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Great one. So Yeah, I lost my train of thought. Who cares? Yeah, I'll good.
That's okay. Well, no, if you want to talk more about Libby, you can. If not, I was going to ask you, like, what's the process for people, coming in, if they have, a cause they believe in or they need some help, how do they go through, how do they approach you? How does that happen?
Yeah. So normally I get an email, somebody will reach out to me. We had an intake form on the website for a long time. Our wait list started getting like so long. I'm like, all right, at least it sounds bad, but like I'm gonna remove that entryway for the time being, at least. While we had like a 9-month wait list at one point. Mm-hmm. I think we're down to like 4 or 5 right now.
Oh wow.
But yeah, so people will email me, and then I'll have a conversation with them, kind of get a feel for their story. Usually, if they've gone through the trouble of finding my email and everything, like it's a legit story. Mm-hmm. So they'll reach out, and I'll have a conversation, and determine if there's if we're a fit. We try to focus primarily on families. Yeah. Like we'll do a few nonprofits here and there, and there's some that we support like all year long. Whether it's something like Golisano Children's Hospital, like I used to say that instead of Oshai.
Yeah, right.
Or Roswell Park. We do a lot of stuff for Feed More when we have the opportunity. But about 5 or 6 years ago, I really realized that we were doing so many different nonprofits on our 2-week campaigns that I had to back that off and say, oh, okay, we're kind of off the ball a little bit. We exist to help families. So, but anyways, yeah. So we'll bring those families in. I'll have a conversation with them. Like even right now, we're doing support for a nonprofit, but it's in honor of a little girl who's like one of, I think, 1,000 people in the world with a specific genetic condition. And her mom started this nonprofit to fund research for this genetic condition. I'm like, all right, well, that's a lot different than like maybe a giant, corporate nonprofit or something that has its own professional fundraisers.
Well, it's kind of like we talk about that here at our firm. So we have like a program we call like our monthly acts of kindness. And when we're plotting out what we want to do through the year, we always talk about like maximum impact. Mm-hmm. Can we have maximum impact here? That kind of thing, because look, there's so many great organizations, not-for-profits, charities in Western New York, and we of course work with them at times too and want to help them. But it's nice when you can kind of direct your focus on somebody who really, like, you can actually have a huge impact with how you can help.
Yeah. There's another story I was just thinking of. So at the end of 2020, when the Bills won the division for the first time in like 200 years, we did the design. And it was like how Buffalo took the division. It was like kind of like based on the Grinch, more of like a blue buffalo and everything. And we ended up raising like almost $25,000 for this guy.
It's amazing.
Out in, I think it was in central New York. He had been diagnosed with something in between jobs while he didn't have health insurance. So he was really, behind the 8 ball in terms of his medical bills and everything. So to be able to, cut that check is, it's just the most amazing thing, and it's always a good reminder. Like, this is why we exist.
Yeah.
But we have some campaigns that they don't raise $25,000, and some of them they struggle to hit $1,000. And so we'll try to find as many different ways as we can to like make an impact for those families, whether it's releasing maybe another shirt to support them or whatever. Because for whatever reason, maybe that first one didn't really hit the mark, but. We do everything we can, but it's a roller coaster.
No, it's awesome. I mean, and you get to work with so many people here in the community who want to give back, and I know you've worked with even a lot of players, Bills players, Sabres players who love Western New York and want to give back, whether they're still playing here or they're retired. Is there one player that maybe you've worked with more, or you worked with them on a project and you think they, it's just someone like you think maybe most fondly of, in the sense that like they really like put a lot of effort into giving back to the community?
I feel bad just saying one player, because for any of these players to want to work with us, it's because they understand, our mission and what we do.
Yeah.
A random shout out to Steven Hauschka, who we did a shirt with him back in like 2015 or whatever it was. And he wanted to know everything about why we do what we do, how we do it. And I had probably a half-hour phone conversation with him, just getting into all the nuts and bolts. So he was really like, all right, if you're gonna, if I'm gonna like help you with this, I want to know exactly what I'm doing. So that was really cool. In terms of like, I'm just gonna say one player, but there's been so many. So this is not just the only player. Yeah. There's so many that are probably very similar as well. But like Richie Incognito, we did a campaign with him in 2016 to support a very small local nonprofit that helps families dealing with like pediatric cancer and stuff. It kind of looked like the IHOP logo, but it just said Incognito pancakes, pancake blocks or whatever.
Yeah.
And for that 2 weeks that we did it, that dude was tweeting about it 2 or 3 times a day, saying, "Come on, people, buy this shirt. Let's go." There was one point where the sponsor of that shirt actually did like a matching donation, and Richie caught it before because they didn't tell me they were going to do it.
Yeah.
And then Richie caught it before I did, and I wake up, I see his tweet. He's like, "There it is, folks. Let's go." I'm like, "What is he talking about?" Because he was so dialed into the campaign.
That's awesome.
And so he actually. We timed that specific beneficiary because at the end of the 2 weeks they were having their annual fundraiser.
Mm-hmm.
So wouldn't you know, like it was the off season. It was like April, and he's like, "I'm gonna be there at that fundraiser. I'll, you bring your shirts and I'll sign them." And I was like, I messaged him like, "Dude, these are all pre-sales. Nobody's gonna have the shirt yet." He's like, "I don't care if they bring a Jim Kelly jersey. I'll sign whatever they bring." So he came with his assistant Colton, as he introduced him. It's Colton Schmidt, the punter.
Yeah.
He's telling me, "This is my assistant Colton." And he came and he hung out like the whole time. It was really cool. I think he even like went out with folks afterwards. It was like such a great dude.
That's so cool.
And I'll see him every like year or two, and I'll always like, give him a hug or say, "Dude, I appreciate you so much." That meant a lot to me for somebody to understand our mission to that level and to action it out in terms of like just like he was tweeting about it more than we were. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's like right. It's again like this reminds me so much like of I have so much pride and like of a lot of our like all of our teammates who like are telling us like, "Hey, John, we know we can write checks to places, but we want to show up and help." Mm-hmm. There's something about of course, it's always amazing when you can financially give to somebody, but like when somebody like Richie or other people in the community actually show up and are like 100% invested in their time, it's amazing.
Yeah. And like I said, he's just one player. There's been other players that have been engaged. Reid Ferguson, just there's so many. I don't want to start listing them off because I'm going to forget one or two, and then
So I mean, the evolution of Bills Mafia. I mean, how would you describe it? I mean, from that day that it started when we tweeted it out in Fratelli's to where it is now. Like, how has it changed, and like how would you kind of define it now?
It's funny because when it first started, for that first year or two, it was a small segment of Bills fans on Twitter who were being made fun of by all the other Bills fans for this stupid name that people used to say, like Bills Mafia. They used to say that all the time. And so it was almost to the point where like I felt like I was in middle school getting picked on again. But it's kind of funny how we're this little segment of like, corny Bills fans, and for the team to have adopted the name and have it be the name of the fan base, whether those people that write the letters to me like it or not.
Yeah.
It's just it's crazy just to see it grow from the point where it was a small set of fans to almost all, there's always exceptions, but the majority of fans on social media identifying with the term, and then for the Bills to actually be like, let's roll with this.
Yeah.
It's someday I'm going to wake up and this will have all been a dream. But I will be 35 again. So that's all right. Yeah. Good dream. Good dream. Cool. Did
the Bills ever give you resistance to the name? Because obviously they embrace it now. But was it like rocky at first?
I remember it was like a couple months. It was like a month of it actually like going viral, like in August, early September of 2011. They actually had me come in, and they were actually really cool. Like I don't think actually 2 of like 3 guys that were in that room are still there. But they weren't jerks about it or anything at all. They said, "Hey, listen, here's what you can do. Here's what you can't do. Be careful about using our marks and all that." And but they weren't like jerks about it. But like on the whole level, they didn't really like the term Bills Mafia. I remember at one point, a few years into it, Jairusburg was at the Pro Bowl, and he tweeted because they were letting players tweet like during the game. Yeah. And he tweeted something like Bills Mafia, and the social media team for the Bills did like a manual retweet and scrubbed out Mafia and put in fans. And of course, I think they got dragged for that by the fans.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
But now those are all that whole regime is gone. Everybody's on board with it and they understand. It's something that is like, to use a Mafia term, it's like this thing of ours, right? Yeah. Yeah. So it is kind of funny how there was resistance at first, but the social media is just, it's so different now. Everybody that is there is different from the people that were there, really, so.
What are your thoughts on the new stadium, and do you think helps Bills Mafia evolve even more? Like, have you thought about that?
I don't know where it's going to evolve to, where it can evolve to. I mean, it's pretty. I feel like it's at its apex, right? You know, the team's embraced it. I'm guessing. I have no information that the term Bills Mafia will be all around the inside of that stadium now, which would be really cool.
Yeah.
I do have this dream of like the 12th man, you know, how it's on the Wall of Fame, having that replaced with Bills Mafia. That would be pretty cool.
That was awesome.
We'll see what happens, but yeah, I'm excited about the new stadium. I was lucky enough; I got a tour of it back in January. It looks really sweet.
Yeah,
I got to like see exactly, literally where my seats are, what my view is going to be. It's going to be amazing. I don't know what the tailgate scene is going to be like. It's going to be very similar, I think, because really it's just across the street from where we were, you know. Yeah, there's a lot of unknowns, but I don't think that we're prepared for exactly how next level like this game day experience is going to be. Like even going to like other stadiums like Baltimore, I'll even say the Jaguars, just because their upgrades that they've had. They're doing another upgrade now, but like the game presentation is not something that could even have been done in the old Highmark Stadium.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think we're prepared for what it's going to be like in this new stadium. I think it's going to blow our minds.
I think the same thing. I think people's brains are going to explode. We got to look at our seats too. And I'm like, you're looking around at this place and you're thinking, man, like Buffalo deserves this so much, but Buffalo doesn't know what it's like to have something like this in its community. It's insane.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be the crown jewel of like everything Western New York. And, I really hope they build out around it more too, because
100%.
For what it is, I think it could be something where they're doing tours like all year long, and even like Wrigley Field, like people just want to be in Wrigleyville even if it's not baseball season.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Obviously it's not in the city. It's 20 miles south of it, but I really do hope they build up around it more.
Yeah, that's like the new move now. I mean, I spent time in Atlanta for work, and where the Braves' new stadium is, it's called the Battery around it. And I don't think they could do that because there's obviously it's a residential neighborhood over there. But I agree with you. I mean, like building it up all around it, it'll be like a destination point, right? Whether it's a Bills game day or not, I think it would be fun. They have places even too where people want to kind of go when they're away, and like all the sports bars and like things to do. I mean, yeah, I think it'll be awesome, and hopefully they do something cool too to memorialize the Ralph, right?
I'm sure they will.
Yeah, they have to. Yeah. So as you again kind of think about the future. With 26 shirts, everything you're doing for the community, have you thought about maybe where you want that to be, or how you kind of want this to look maybe 5 years from now?
Why do people always ask me that? I have no idea. No, I don't know.
It's hard, right?
Yeah, it is. It's because I don't know. It's crazy just how much things have changed in 5 years or 10 years. Doing for 12 years now. How much every few years it's so different than what it was. Years prior. I don't know. We've changed a lot of our business model. It used to be you could only get these limited edition drops, and that was it. But as people became more aware of us, we realized we got to have more to offer people. So we've opened up what we call our vault and everything. So we have a huge, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of designs people can choose from now, as opposed to two. Yeah. And that's been something we're still propping up 2 years later, because there's so many designs and everything. So just finding different ways to expand people's, to meet people's expectations. I would love to be able to. We've done excursions into other cities: Chicago, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati.
Yeah, I saw that.
We are kind of using like the on-demand model, able to do a lot more than we were able to in the past. So I want to really, like, if you go on the site now, you'll see like Detroit and Washington and other cities. I would love to be able to do that more as time goes on, as I have time, if I find time, because I think that this model can work. Buffalo is special, and having done it, like we did it like a full-time, like volumed campaign in, like I said, Chicago, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati primarily. There's families in those areas that need help. Buffalo is special. Like and it helps that I'm in Buffalo, but I also know that we're just kind of like wired differently here.
Yeah. But
I think this model can work elsewhere, and I think that there's families that can use support, that can rep their teams, rep their community. And I would like to be able to do that more.
That's awesome. All right, I got one last question for you. and then we're done.
That makes me nervous. There's a lot of white space beneath that last question.
I actually didn't even use this. So the team will help me, but like honestly, it's funny we talk about it. Like I just like to kind of do my own thing, look online. Like I usually know the people are coming in anyways, and just kind of have a conversation. So honestly, the question I'm about to ask you just came to my mind. It's not written down anywhere. What's one thing Bills Mafia should keep doing and one thing they should stop doing?
Wow. Okay. Keep showing up, right? Keep the faith, I guess. What should they stop doing? You're trying to get me in trouble with this one. I don't even know. Well, keep showing up, keep repping the team. That's a very small ask because it's going to happen anyway, right? What should they stop doing? I'm going to say this because it applies to me too.
Okay.
Stop getting angry a day and a half into free agency when the Bills haven't signed every single free agent you want. Because like I see these posts, like it's like, and I did it as a joke at like noon on Monday. I automatically did the one tweet from Caddyshack where he's like, "Well, we're waiting," as a joke. But then like 24 hours later, I was like, "Well, we're waiting." Like do something, you know. So I guess having more patience, but it just becomes like more and more tense every season that goes by that they don't win a championship. So, but yeah, maybe we need to dial it back a little bit and like maybe, you know, let Bean and company cook a little bit.
Hell yeah. I love it. And let's show up for the Sabres.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
Yes,
let's go.
It's it is so much fun right now watching this team. It does feel like 20 years ago. I mean, you don't have Drury and Briere out there, but just the excitement, like that game against the Lightning on Sunday night.
Insane.
Like, they were down at the end. I was like, they're going to win this game. They're going to come back.
Yep.
Like, you had so much faith. Like, they're so much fun to watch. And like Buffalo Sabres fans, we really deserve this. I mean,
100%.
We want to talk about being forged through like frustration and whichever like drought. Like, even though the Bills drought was longer, it feels like the Sabres drought has been worse.
Yeah.
And so it's gone deeper, right? You know? Truly, like Darcy Regier said, some suffering will be involved. Yeah, dude. Yeah, suffering for sure.
Yeah. You undersold it big time.
You're not kidding. Like, basically, like an entire generation of children are going to grow up and not know what playoff hockey is. Playoff hockey is a completely different sport than regular season hockey.
Oh, yeah, totally. It's amazing.
We could go off on going on, but it's very exciting.
Yeah. Dude, thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it. It was awesome.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
Thanks,
great.
man.